And what time of year did you get started in the garden, and what kind of a timeline, as far as when did planting start and actual planting?
Well, there's something to do year-round, really. We got started initially in February of 2009, and that was just planning. And we ordered seeds. We were working with a garden mentor at that point. Her name is Barbara Clark. She runs a commercial market garden here in Lawrence, and she volunteered to help us get set up. So she helped us locate places to get seeds and things like seed potatoes. We did all the planting in February. We came out here in mid-March with a tiller, and we had basically a playground out here in back of the school, and we tilled up the plot, originally just turned the sod under, and we let it kind of decay until late April, and then we tilled it again, and then we came in May and did our first planting. And in the first year we put in 10 50-foot rows of vegetables, and we set up a small CSA with 10 people in it, and we sold to the Merck, and we sold to some restaurants. We had some heirloom tomatoes that we sold to restaurants, and we had a fairly diversified approach to selling at that point. We weren't quite sure what we were going to do, so we went to farmers market and things like that. We had more, because we had a hired gardener who was out here all the time. We were able to do a little bit more with the marketing and selling. As a volunteer, I don't have quite that much time to do that kind of work. Most of my time goes into growing vegetables, so it works for me to have one purchaser. But that's how we got started. We got started in a very diverse way, and those kinds of approaches of marketing the vegetables and so forth, that remains to be developed more.
And what kind of site selection process did you go through? Did you do any testing of the soil, or was it just this was a space that you were given, or how did you decide where?
Well, we were lucky. We really didn't have to do that because we knew we were on the best land in Douglas County, and we're completely surrounded by farming. You'll see if you look around the horizon that we're growing corn all around us right now. This particular land that we're on is about 7 acres of the school ground. It's just kind of carved out of the farm field, and we knew it was great land. All it had on it when we came in here and came into the school were baseball fields, and so we have completely developed it over the time. We moved in here in 2003, and we've gradually been transforming it and trying to use some of the land. There's a lot more land here than we need for playground, so we're trying to work the garden in. We also, I just would mention this, it's a kind of an added thing, but just adjacent to us next door is the University of Kansas Native Plant Medicinal Garden, and that's a University of Kansas project. It's a big grant project. They have 5 acres over there. They grow native medicinal plants for research, and they're trying to create new products from Kansas plants, native plants. And we work with them back and forth. In fact, they gave us an area of their land over there to put in an herb garden, and so we keep a small herb garden over there to maintain connection with that. But that back and forth between the KU garden and the KU researchers and our students and our garden, there's a kind of a reciprocity there that we like very much. And I guess I would advise anybody who's going to do a garden to start to develop as many partners in their communities as they can, whatever they may be. If you're fortunate enough to have a university or a college in your community, that you may find interest there in gardening or biological studies or plant science or whatever. Make friends, get that going, because that helps. And also, of course, restaurants and grocery stores and so forth.
Where did you get your gardening tools, and where do you have them stored?
We have a garden shed that was built by the students and parents, and in our curriculum, third graders study building structures. It's kind of early lessons in architecture, and they, as part of the curriculum, every third grader is involved in building a building of some kind, or a structure, and that varies depending on the year and whatever. But we happen to need a garden shed, and so that group of third graders and their families contributed. Fortunately, we had some carpenters in the class, and so they built us a nice garden shed, and that's where we keep the tools. The tools we got, most of them we got with the grant from the Douglas County Community Foundation, and we invested in some good quality garden tools, and care of the tools and so forth is an important part of the lesson that we have with the students. We're very careful about the tools. We don't leave them out. We get them out. We use them. We clean them. We put them away, and that's kind of important hygiene habits for the students. But in addition to that, we've had people donate tools to us as well, and so we take them in as we need them.
What age of kids do you involve in the gardening, and how do they help?
Well, the big thing during the summer is I work with a United Way group that's in Lawrence that's called the Roger Hill Volunteer Center, and they have a program that gets students, junior high and high school students, involved in nonprofit work. And so during the summer I have students who are from, so far they've all been from the public schools, who come out here and work during the summer. And that's been good, because those students are old enough, they're junior high and high school, and they're old enough to really do quite a bit out here. They've been very helpful. Our students in our school, it's just a grade school, it goes up through 6th grade. So we don't have the kind of the how do I say, attention span, or sometimes physical capability to do all the work that needs to be done in a real garden. And this is a real garden. This is a market garden. But we do have an area of student gardens, and they're 3 by 3 foot gardens. Every student has their own little garden, and they during the school year they grow vegetables in it, and sometimes flowers. And during the school year, late in the school year in the spring, and then early in the fall, September and October, the students do work in our garden, but we're still harvesting vegetables. They like to pick things like cherry tomatoes and stuff. Well, I wanted to show you compost that we do. And as I mentioned, we do biodynamic composting. And we really have a lot of material around here, but we got compost piles over here, and we do what's called a pat pit. And this is basically an underground brick-lined pit. And we put cow manure in it, and we kind of cure the cow manure. And those bags that you see in there are full of cow manure that just got here. And we just installed this basically, and so we're just starting to use it. But we'll put cow manure and some other ingredients in there, and eventually we'll make what we call a tea for putting in the garden beds. And that tea is just the manure in water, and it's stirred up and oxygenated, and then we spread it onto the garden beds, and it enlivens the soil. It keeps the soil healthy. It's just one of the things that we do in addition to other composts to put back into the soil. So we're always conscious of making the soil better next year than it was this year.